Oi boys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We are here to talk NRL tips round 4, and before we dive in, we do have a recap of the round that was. So in terms of our head-to-head selections, we went 7 from 8. The game we got wrong ended up being a red carpet, thanks to the damn Roosters who did taste defeat across the ditch, and other than that, most of the faves got up. We did have a perfect game, that was the West Tigers. Heading over to KO, they looked like they were down and out at halftime, and they brought that one back. And our try scorer Uppy ended up scoring the match winner with a pretty cold celebration. This whole claws up or claws out celebration they're doing, I really enjoy. The head-to-heads were looking good. Our try selections weren't that great, only 2 from the 8. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the round 4 matches line up and make some picks. Alright, so we kick off round 4. Thursday night between the Rabbitohs and the Panthers, this being played at somewhat a home away from home for the Panthers, a core stadium. And just like last week, we'll be going through the changes, and the reason I'm doing it like that is today's like a big recording day, and I don't really have that much time to dive deep into the matches, so let's get to it, yeah? For the Bunnies, they've made one change. They'll be without Campbell Graham, so moving in to play at right centre, they've got Isaiah Tass, and making his way back into the side for his first game of the season, Alex Johnston. For the Panthers, obviously they'll be without Nathan Cleary, who did suffer a head knock last week, so taking a spot in the 7 jersey, they have Trent Toilau, who looked pretty decent the last time he played 7 in the trials. They've also got Dane Laurie back on deck to play at fullback, pushing Thomas Jenkins into the centres and Casey McLean dropping out of the 17. He's 18th man right now. As for our pick in this game, coming off back-to-back losses, I will be back in the Panthers, and I did take a look back. They haven't lost 3 games in a row since before the dynasty begun, so like 2019. I think even without Cleary, they have enough to get the job done. And to bag us some meat pie, I'm actually going to go a little rogue here and take Lindsay Smith, one of the true workhorses of the team who's always in and around the action. The first off Friday's doubleheader takes us to Allianz Stadium where the Roosters host the Titans. Starting with the home side here, they'll be without Connor Watson due to concussion protocols. So Zach Clay gets the start in the 9. And joining the Pine, Lindsay Collins and Nat Butcher. Recruit Makaesi Makatoa is the one to drop to reserves. Looking towards the Titans, they'll be without their mainstay number 1 in Keanu Kenny. So young gun Jalen de Groot gets another crack starting at fullback. That is the only change in the squad. So both teams are missing some pretty crucial players. The most affected though I think will be the Roosters, so I'm going to actually take the Titans here with an upset. I don't know, I just feel like Connor's been pretty influential for them, and without him at hooker I do think they'll struggle. Now history and stats are against the Titans, but I do think they have enough to get the job done. So we'll take him 1 to 12, and to get on the board, I like AJ Brimson. Now moving on to the Friday headliner, and what is my match of the round, we have the battle for Brisbane, the Dolphins versus the Broncos. Looking at the Broncos first up, there's actually nothing to talk about as they've kept the same 17. On the side of the Broncos, we have a returning Gotoni Stags, and surprisingly, there was a rumour in the preseason that Dean Mariner actually fell out of favour, playing in the centres over new recruits Gemahit Shibasaki, so it looks like that was true, as Mariner's fallen out of the 17, and Shibasaki keeps his spot in the left centre position. Now with the Dolphins desperately searching for their first win of the season, I'm expecting them to keep it close here with Brisbane, but I do expect the Broncos to pull away with the win. I just think that forward pack is too talented. The Finns are lacking through the middle still without Flegler, so give me the Broncos in a tight contest and the returning Gotoni Stags to cross that white line. Kicking off the first of 3 for Saturday, we have the Dragons hosting the Storm at Netstrata Jubilee, and there's a few changes here for the Dragons. So first of all, Raymond Vitala Mariner and Blocker Laurie have dropped to reserves. They have 2 players set to make their debut for the club, one being former Tiger Dave Clemmer and young gun Dylan Egan. They'll be coming off the pile for the Dragons. And moving to starting front row, they've got Toby Couchman. So there's quite a bit happening with the Storm as well. They'll be without 3 players in Jerome Hughes, Nelson Asafa Solomona and Nick Meaney. So replacing Hughes in the 7, they've got Tyron Wishart, and replacing him on the bench, Bronson Garlick in the 14. Staying on the topic of the bench, filling in for Big Nelson will be young middle Lazarus Vaalepu. Also, Grant Anderson moves from the wing to the centres for Meaney, while Will Warbrick makes his way back into the starting side on the wing. As for my pick, I do think a Storm bounce back is imminent, and I mean bounce back performance-wise, because last week they looked pretty shocking. Even without Jerome Hughes, I do think they won't miss a beat with Tyron Wishart. Speaking of, I want to take him to score a try. And for the new experienced heads of the Dragons to keep it close, that's Storm 1 to 12 and Tyron Wishart. Super Saturday Game 2 takes us to Queensland Country Bank Stadium with the Cowboys host the Raiders. Looking at ins and outs for the Cowboys, they actually have the same 17. They do have Zach Laybutts, listed in jersey 19, he could potentially make his way back into the side. Other than that, they, yeah, like I said, are the same 17. As for the Raiders, they welcome back veteran Joe Tapine to the front row, pushing Corey Horsburgh to lock and Trey Mooney to the bench. Their sole out is Morgan Smithies, as he's suffered a head knock in the previous round. As for my pick in this game, I'm actually going to take the visitors. Now I know historically the Cowboys do have the wood on them, beating them in convincing fashion both times they met last season. I think the inclusion of Joe Tapine will get them over the line. If ever there were a game for the Cowboys to turn it around, it would be this one, but watching them play this season gives me zero confidence in picking them even at home, so give me the visitors, give me 1 to 12 points, and to bag a meat pie I want to go with Xavier Savage. And to close out Super Saturday, we have an absolute cracker. We head over to Shark Park where Cronulla host Canterbury Bankstown. Looking at the home side, they've made one change. Big Tommy Hazelton is back on deck coming off the pine, and it's a timely return as he replaces Braden Hamlin-Wille, who did pick up a knee injury. For the Bulldogs, they have the same 17 that shut down Parramatta last week, so we will move right into my picks. I will be back in the home side in this. I do think they can put an end to the Bulldogs' perfect start to the season. Historically, both teams do have 20 wins, so this game will break the deadlock. My main reasonings for the Shark pick: 1, at home. I think it will play a little factor, but I ultimately think their size and X factor through the middle, as well as having their full strength spine, will be the difference. So yeah, give me Cronulla. And to score a try, want to keep it plain, a little boring, and take Samuel Stonestreet. We have a pretty decent lineup for our Sunday session, kicking off with Manly and Parramatta at 4 Pines Park. Looking at the Seagulls lineup, they do welcome back fullback Tom Trbojevic. So Lehi Hopoate hops back onto the wing. Their single out is Daniela Paseka, as he suffered an Achilles injury, so they welcome back Josh Aloiai right back into the starting front row with their biggest impact player from last season making his way back to the bench, Nathan Brown. As for the struggling Parramatta side, there's 2 changes. They welcome back Dan Kerr to the bench and Sean Russell onto the wing in place of Jordan Samrani. As for our pick in matches like this, we will be keeping it short and sweet. Give me Manly at 4 Pines Park, the Fortress. That's all that needs to be said about that, and to score a try, we'll be looking for a little bit of value, a little bit of juice. Let's look towards the disrespected Daly Cherry Evans. Seeing him cross the white line at home will be another big middle finger to the Manly brass. And we are closing out the round with an absolute heater. We're at Campbelltown Sports Ground, and it's the Tigers versus the Warriors. Looking at the ins and outs, I don't see anyone on the outs list for the Tigers. It's good news despite Jarrell Skelton coming off early last week. With a hamstring complaint, I'm surprised he's actually playing, but let's look at the Warriors here. They're without veteran outside back Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So Adam Pompey shifts one out while Rocco Berry plays his first match of the season. As for my pick in this final game, give me the Tigers at home. After overcoming adversity last week, I'm looking for another big performance from them, which may be met with a bit of resistance from the Warriors. So we're going to go Tigers 1 to 12. Historically, it's actually a bit of a tough matchup, as the Warriors do have the upper hand in the overall head-to-head and have beat them the last 2 years. But yeah, there's a lot to play for here for the Tigers. For try scorers, I feel like this lad is due. He did get a new distributor inside him. It used to be Galvin and Samuela Fainu, and they worked well together. It hasn't quite clicked with Luai, but we'll back him to get over the line in this match. And that about wraps up my tips and predictions for round 4. We actually have quite a few decent matches to look forward to despite the missing players. As always, if you have any tips and predictions of your own, let us know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give that like button a big don't argue. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.